Cheers to another episode of the Weinnotes Podcast. I'm your guide, AJ Weinzettel, on this journey of stories showcasing the people behind the wonderful world of wine, where we dive into conversations ranging from terroir, viticulture, to favorite music, superpowers, and more. Please enjoy this episode of the Weinnotes Podcast. Mark, Pattie, thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Our
Well,
pleasure.
thanks for having us. This is great.
It is great. It's, I'm just looking out past you. The sun is shining. All the little leaves on the vines are piping out.
Oh.
And I love this time in the vineyard.
It is great, and I'm happy we've got some warm weather coming up so we can race toward bloom and have at least an average or a little early bloom and thus an early harvest. As a grower, that's nice for me.
Yes, I can only imagine. I always try to do as much research as I can for these interviews, and just to sit down with the two of you today, I have to say it's an honor. The history and what you have contributed to the community, and just like the legacy that you're leaving, it is breathtaking.
Well, hopefully we're not leaving it too.
Well, I mean, like what the road that you've already constructed and where you're going and what you've done.
I was teasing you.
I think it's really been a labor of love.
Yes.
So we've enjoyed it tremendously.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Can only imagine.
Every day is fun and it's interesting. It keeps us going, certainly.
Yes, most definitely. Is it okay if I pour us a little bit of a blind wine?
Sure.
Okay.
That's fun.
As I kind of told you before we started recording, I always try to find some sort of connection. My connection is pretty off on this one, I will say. But there is the teeniest bit of connection.
Okay.
And I thought it's an interesting connection, I think. But, as you smell it and taste it, feel free to say whatever you want. You can just say it's yummy, you can say it's yucky, you can just whatever. There's zero pressure.
It's got nice aromatics.
Yes. And I will say this. Normally I try to bring in an Oregon wine, but I did not bring an Oregon wine. It just felt wrong in your story to bring an Oregon wine.
I mean, maybe, I don't think it's a Chardonnay. I think it's, seems like Pinot Blanc, perhaps, and maybe Alsatian. I don't know. Or maybe,
I kind of think it is a Chardonnay.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
It's always
We are
difficult.
terrible blind tasters, I
Yeah.
have
Well,
to admit.
If it's a Chardonnay, it's,
More of a Chablis style.
well, I don't know. It's got good acid, so.
Well, I mean, you can revisit it a little bit during the conversation. I'll reveal at the end kind of what it is, and we'll revisit.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah,
The color would probably indicate more like Chardonnay than a Pinot Blanc, perhaps. I don't know.
It could be. And the reason I kind of do the blind wine is, like, even sitting with winemakers, they're like, oh, this is this, and they're like completely wrong. So what I'm trying to do is just like, hey, we're all human.
Oh yeah.
And that's like, we're all humbled immensely when it comes to a blind taste.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd do better looking at the vines and saying.
I didn't think about that. I should have done that. The last time I was out here was during the spring equinox event. All I have to say is, wow, that was such an amazing event, and what a great place to hold it at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was we were very happy to bring that back, and you know, I think we had Al Holcomb that was the chairperson of that event, and she really knocked it out of the park. The whole team at Zenith just was amazing. Everything went click, click, click. And the caterers, we had Cozy Taberna, the Joe Palmer House, Willoughby's. It was just amazing, everything that they did, and what a great job everybody did. And of course, Willamette Hills, there was a tremendous amount of very interesting and really great wines. So everything I've heard from consumers was really, really, really positive. We have one person that's they're in our cellar club, and they are very experienced in the whole Willamette Valley. I don't know how many cellar clubs they belong to, and you know, they would say they're not sophisticated wine drinkers, but they are. And when we were doing the whole thing, you know, we were advertising it in our tasting room, and he said, what are you doing? It's going to be 32 wineries. You can't taste through that many. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be a great event at all.
Right.
And, you know, so he said, we're not going to go to it. Well, then I think they talked to people in our tasting room, and a few weeks later he said, well, we did buy tickets, but, you know, I still think it should be and after the event, he said to me several times, it was incredible. It was the best wine event that they've had this year. So we were very happy with it, and we'll do it again and again and again every year.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
It will be fun. I won't forget walking down the one corridor where Joel Palmer House was, and that mushroom risotto was like stinking up the whole thing. I was like, oh yes.
And mushroom risotto with Pinot Noir, it's just boom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very good.
I like the fact that it's sort of brought back more camaraderie in the AVA, and so it was really a fun event. I think everybody was really happy that it turned out well, and you know, it's our neighbors are our friends, so it's cool.
It is.
Yeah,
really
it was a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. You know, and talking about neighbors, friends, camaraderie. The previous time I was out here, there was like a Thanksgiving event. Arabilis was pouring, Cho was pouring, you know, and some other people that make wine here. And again, just showing like how you all bring the community together and help out. It is just amazing. When I was talking with Paul Johnson from Cider Fire, he was like, yeah, I'm making wine out there, and they're doing so many fun things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, sit down and talk with them about their Gouais Blanc, and we'll get there in a minute. But there is just so much excitement, and just like I just want to continue to emphasize and shine like everything that you all are doing. It is absolutely amazing.
Well, the community down here is so supportive. You know, we have so many good friends with vineyards and wineries in the area. For instance, just this spring, Bryn Mawr had sheep up at their vineyard.
Right.
So we asked about the sheep, and they said, yeah, you should do this. And pretty soon, Bryn Mawr, Bethel Heights, and Bjornson were doing a sheep share event. And it was great fun. It was really neat to have the sheep out here in the wintertime.
Right.
Great grazing for them. The shepherd came out here and he said, look at this clover. It's just incredible. And so I always put clover down in the cover crop, and we don't cultivate it all. We're no-till. And the clover then pulls nitrogen down into the soil, but it's also just a real treat for the sheep. So they loved it here. And the sheep, you know, have rotated between Bryn Mawr, Bethel Heights, and Bjornson, and then we had kind of a club share between the three wineries, and it worked out very well. So people really enjoyed that.
And I think we have, in the cellar, we do have a lot of camaraderie between the different winemakers, and we hired Scott Sabadini as our head winemaker in 2019, and he has experience making wine all around the world. And so what we started doing during COVID is we would hire one team that would do all the cellar, all the fermentation work for all the participating wineries. And we have a lot of teamwork and a lot of knowledge transfer between different wineries, and yeah, really great group of people making wine here. So
that is amazing. I want to go back in time now. How did you end up becoming a stonemason in high school?
Well, I worked for my brother cutting firewood, and this is in Bismarck, North Dakota, and we would go down, I started late 6th grade and into 7th grade. We would go down in the woods, and they had built a dam in South Dakota on the Missouri River, and it had backed up water and killed all the trees in the bottoms. And so in the summertime, of course, you couldn't get in there. In the wintertime, you could drive out onto the ice. And of course, in Bismarck, the ice is 2-3 feet thick,
right?
So no problem there. And we would drive out. My brother's, actually, he's up at the house right now. They came to visit. He's about 14 years older than I am. And so we would drive out and cut firewood, and I would work for him every Saturday and Sunday. And then he had a good friend, Dennis Kraft, and Dennis had a stone business, selling stone, and then also building stone fireplaces and putting stone on the outside of houses, etc. And so there was kind of a building boom in western North Dakota and Bismarck. That was an early oil boom back in the mid to late 70s,
right.
And so there was a lot of construction going on, and Dennis taught me how to lay stone, and then Dennis got out of the stonemasonry business and just sold stone all around the state. And then I would process the stone. I had a little business where I would buy the stone, split it, process it for do-it-yourselfers, and then Dennis was selling that all around the state. So I was kind of the manufacturing arm, and Dennis was the sales arm, and it worked really well. And then I kind of took over the stonemasonry business, and so I did a number of projects laying stone on my own. So by the time I was a junior in high school, I had 2 employees, and you could look up salaries. My mother had been a teacher, and could look up salaries in the school system, and I was making more money than anyone in the school except the principal. So it worked out really well for me, and great experience running a little business, keeping me busy,
right.
And then I had enough money to go to college, at least for the first few years, in style. So, but by the time I met Pattie, I'd run out of money. So I was poor at that point again.
Well, then that just brings up the next great segment. Pattie, you just became a new member of Delta Sigma Pi, and you had to interview active members. And one of the first people that you interviewed was Mark. And you were asking about short-term and long-term goals, and Mark was like, well, I don't really have any short-term goals, but, I'd really like to live out in the country, have a big family, and build a house. And, you were just like, all right, well, whenever you're ready to get married, let me know.
Well, what I actually said,
sorry,
literally is, wow, look me up when you want to get married. and it was total sarcastic comment, and but I don't know, 5 years later.
You know, that's, I'm curious, like then, like where did the relationship kind of go? Like what was your all's like first date? Did Mark say, okay, well, hey, I'm ready now, or like?
It took a while for us to start dating. We were really good friends first, and we would go bicycling. He actually bought a bike or reconditioned a bike that you had, and you gave it to me.
Yeah.
But we were
I found a bike at a rummage sale. Actually, I think we were dating by the time I did that. I wasn't going to invest a bike in some girl unless, you know. Yeah, no.
I mean, you were poor at that point.
Yeah, I bought a bike at a rummage sale, and I kind of reconditioned it. It was a decent, nice bike, but, you know, I needed somebody to go biking with me. That was after we were dating.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But we in the Twin Cities, which is where we were living at the time, there's 5 lakes in the middle of the city, and there's paths to go biking, and really you can go 60 to 100 miles on bike trails.
Right.
And so we do that a lot on the weekends. We were runners. We run in 5Ks and 10Ks. We were going to college and working part-time jobs at the time, and we're just
a natural
kind of
progression.
normal. Yeah.
No, I think that is great. And for Mark, you were studying business. I mean, what was the appeal for you for business when you had this long-term goal of like living out in the country and having a big family? And
well, I was a realist, and to do those sorts of things, you need some capital, and so that's
Okay.
a good way to get capital.
Okay.
And it worked.
Right. It definitely did work.
And I think even now, both of us have business degrees, and a big part of this, you know, we've taken classes in viticulture and enology at Chemeketa. Pattie worked 3 years at Bethel Heights, and worked with Ben Castile, and did 3 harvests there, learned more about winemaking, etc. So we've studied viticulture, winemaking, etc. But a big part of running this operation is business, and so that certainly helped us a lot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I feel, I'm now the executive winemaker, or whatever my title is, which means I get to fill out all the forms and report to the government. But I think that the thing I do day in and day out, all day long, is just problem solve.
Right.
Because that's what running a small business is.
It definitely is.
Right. There's no recipe, you know, you just every day reprioritize.
It is something different every single day.
Which is fun.
I do plumbing. So it seems like.
Well, you never know.
There's always something to be fixed in the winery, and then, you know, we have two vineyards now, and I'm putting in irrigation over there. We don't irrigate our grapes here anymore because they're mature and they get all the water. Their roots are down deep. But I'm a big believer in putting in irrigation for young vines, get them up and growing fast.
Right. And
then after they're 5-6 years old, you don't need to anymore. But it's things like that, fixing tractors, irrigation, electricals, things like that seem to occupy a fair amount of my time.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt. And then you have Mother Nature on top of it.
Yes,
that just throws you a bunch of curveballs. And so you got married in 1989, and you weren't able to get away for a honeymoon until like 93. And this, your honeymoon kind of made that long-term goal take a little bit of a detour. And you talked about riding bikes in college and running, but I'm more specifically curious, when did you all start riding a tandem bike together?
Well, it was a beautiful, I think, May day in '93, and at the time I was an underwriter for Prudential. We got married in '89, and then no honeymoon. And we had talked about biking through Europe because I had, in '86, I biked through Germany, Switzerland, a little bit of France, the Netherlands, etc. And so we had talked about doing that, and then we're riding along on our two bikes. Had a little trailer that I was pulling with our daughter in it, and Pattie said, if we don't do it now, we'll never do it. And I said, what? And she said, this trip to, a bike trip to Europe.
Right.
And we decided then that we would take the month of September off, because the plan was I was gonna be changing jobs at Prudential, and we were going to move out to New Jersey. That didn't end up happening, but we thought it was going to, and so there was a good time to do it in the month of September '93. And so after we had that bike ride and talked, within a week or two we had our tickets booked, we had our jobs so we could take a month off in the month of September, and we bought a tandem bicycle. And so we got the tandem fixed up,
right,
with a trailer hitch. I machined a little clamp that would hold a seat for our daughter Caitlin between us. And in September we went to Europe, landed in Amsterdam, and started biking. So Caitlin, when she was awake, would ride between us. She had a little seat, she had little pegs for her feet, and she would hold on to the rear handlebars with Pattie. And then when she needed to take a nap, she'd ride in the trailer. And we biked 1,500 miles through the Netherlands, Germany, a little bit into Belgium, and all through Alsace. And then came back, and we had a wonderful time. And when we were biking down the Mosel River, we stayed at a number of little mom and pop wineries. And one place we stayed, they were harvesting Riesling grapes, and they brought in a little trailer load of grapes, and I was shoveling grapes into the press, and the old man that owned it took me down into the cellar and told me he was able to explain things. I didn't speak German, he didn't speak English, but we were able to communicate. His grandfather had dug out the cellar by hand in 1908, and he took me through tasting all the barrels. I would always say, das ist gut, das ist gut. And then he gave me one taste, and I said, das ist sehr gut. And he took me to the back of the cellar and gave me a taste of another barrel, and it was this incredible, I think, kind of aged Riesling with, kind of nutty flavors and everything, and I was just blown away.
Right.
And I tasted that, and he said, "Das ist sehr gut." And so we decided, now instead of an orchard, maybe in southern Minnesota or Wisconsin, we wanted a vineyard and winery. And then I realized they were growing grapes out in Oregon. When I was growing up in Bismarck, North Dakota as a little kid, my oldest brother had moved to Portland, Oregon. He was working for the IRS, and he's 20 years older than I am. So we would go out to visit him, and I just thought of Oregon as this tropical paradise. I remember, Bismarck, the difference. I remember seeing a pear tree, and it had little tiny pears on it, and I just thought, oh my God, it's real. This is incredible. And so I just loved Oregon, and I still do. It's gorgeous. And so we decided we would move out to Oregon, buy land, and plant a vineyard. And then I can remember we'd get closer and closer to our goals, but the land prices were going up almost as fast as our net worth was climbing. I remember it was about year 2000, we were driving home late at night from a party, and Pattie said, "Mark,
stop telling people that you're going to go out to Oregon and buy a vineyard."
Absolutely. She said, "Everybody thinks you're crazy." And I said, "Well, I don't give a damn what people think." And so I kept right on doing it. Pattie was always happy with me, but it worked out. So here we are.
It did. I have to tell you, having a tandem with a carrier on the back as the person, in front doing all the maneuvering, that is so stressful.
It kind of is, but it's fun too.
You have a tandem too?
I do.
Okay.
And, I had, my daughter back there, and we, one year we ended up doing the bridge pedal in downtown Portland. I mean, just having that extra 3 or 4 feet on the back, and I'm like, ugh, just to make sure that, there's plenty of clearance. But I mean, there was a lot of other bicycles and whatnot, but yeah.
Yeah. Eventually we outfitted our tandem so 5 people could ride it at once.
Wow.
So we have one kid between us, kind of a mid-sized kid.
Right.
And then
no, the littlest would have to be.
No, the littlest was in the back,
right.
on the in the little car seat that clipped onto the rack on the back.
Right.
So I would be in the front. Then between us, we'd have like a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old. Then Pattie would be next, and then in the car seat, kind of car seat type of thing,
right,
that clipped onto the rack, we'd have maybe a 1.5-year-old, and then off the rack we had a little hitch, and then we had a trailer bike, a
right,
one-wheeler, and then our largest child, 5-6-year-old, would be on that, and so we'd have 5 people, and we would be going along on the trails around the western suburbs of Minneapolis. So can I change my vote here on this wine?
Of course.
I'm thinking now Pattie is right. I think this is a Chardonnay, and I'm going to say Pouilly Fussé.
Okay.
I'm picking up more of kind of that almost a waxy flavor, but in a very good way, kind of a richness. So I'm thinking it is a Chardonnay.
Okay.
So probably further humiliating myself
Oh,
here.
no, not at all. It's a blind wine. It's all very humbling. I told you that we'd come back around and talk about Gouais Blanc.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got my yay for Gouais.
There you
There
go.
we go. Yeah.
There is, when you start diving into Gouais Blanc, or we could talk about it probably for hours. But
And I certainly could.
I have no doubt. So I don't even kind of know where to start. But you have like the only commercial planting in the Western Hemisphere. And it is the parent of 81 different grape varieties, including Chardonnay, Riesling, Aligote. How, what was the impetus to even go down that path?
So, in addition to kind of being a bit of a wine geek, particularly from the viticultural standpoint, I like genealogy, and I have Icelandic ancestry, and they have incredible records. So, I would go way back to the time of the Vikings and beyond on certain lines of my ancestors, go way back. And then as they started doing DNA testing of different grapevines, they were discovering, that the family tree for grapes is pretty concentrated. They used to think that grapes, a lot of the European grapes, the cool climate, French, German grapes were a cross between grapes that the Romans had brought up and the wild European grapevines. And they discovered, no, that's 100% from grapes that the Romans brought up. Domesticated grapes, maybe in the Middle East and then the Caucasus Mountains. And then they discovered that Pinot Noir was one of the very first grapes that they sequenced, and then Chardonnay not far behind that. And then they discovered that Chardonnay was a offspring of Pinot and Gouais Blanc. Mm-hmm. And in France, I think a lot of the growers there said, well, yes, we've always known that Chardonnay was closely related to Pinot, but the whole thing about Gouais Blanc being the other parent was kind of like a bad paternity test. They didn't want to hear that. They said, no, that can't be right.
Right.
But of course it is. And so I became curious about, this vine, Gouais Blanc. I wanted to taste the wine. And you cannot get Gouais Blanc in the United States. We tried ordering it from Switzerland, etc., and you can't. And there's only a few little vineyards in Switzerland, and now I guess a couple in Germany. There's a grower in Australia that has a little bit of Gouais Blanc, but according to the University of Adelaide, there's less than 5 acres of Gouais Blanc in the whole world.
Wow.
So I knew that they had some at UC Davis, Foundation Plant Services, and they had that for researchers that were looking into genealogy and also breeders, because Gouais Blanc had been so successful getting crossed with all these different varieties to produce new varieties. So they had vines there, and so we put in to get some vines, and we got enough to plant about 4/10 of an acre. And so we have that, and Gouais Blanc yields very heavy, so it's easy to see why the peasants liked it so much. And so we've been able to produce last year 2 barrels, and this year we'll have 3 barrels. So nice. Roughly 50 cases, 75 cases. And it actually, for a wine that was in the 1700s, the French made it illegal to plant because they viewed it as a poor quality grape. In spite of that, I think we've made some really nice wine out of it. It pairs particularly well with oysters. It tastes to me most like a Melon de Bourgogne, right. Or in France, most Melon de Bourgogne is in the Muscadet region, so they call that a Muscadet, and it's kind of the classic oyster wine in France, and I think the Gouais Blanc is most like that. And of course, Melon de Bourgogne is an offspring of Gouais Blanc and Pinot, and so not surprising.
Yeah. That is something else. I mean, that's what I love about wine. Mm-hmm. There are so many different little rabbit holes to go down, and it just keeps going and going, and you just never know where you're going to end up at.
Yeah. So now we have Pinot, of course, and we have Gouais Blanc. So those are the parents, and there's 21 different varieties that have that parentage, Pinot and Gouais Blanc. And we now have Chardonnay, of course. We have Auxerrois. We have Gamay Noir. We have Aligoté. We're producing Aligoté. And then this last spring, last fall, we planted Milan de Bourgogne. So we've got kind of the big five of the offspring of Gouais and Pinot. So we've got the parents, and we've got five of the offspring, and probably the most important five.
That's so much fun.
Yeah.
It is just, I don't even have the words. Just the ability for us to kind of get out of the Pinot realm a little bit and just explore and experiment. I love that about Oregon.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think there's a lot of potential. We've in 2023 we've produced a Sauvignon Blanc that people are just going wild about, and I think there's a lot of potential for some of the Loire varieties in the Willamette Valley. Sauvignon Blanc, of course, Pinot and Gamay are already pretty well established, but Sauvignon Blanc is getting to be more prevalent, and there's a lot of great examples. We've got a half an acre of Chenin Blanc, and that's still a couple barrels downstairs. We haven't bottled it yet, but I think it's going to be just excellent. Then we have 5 acres of Cabernet Franc coming online this year. So we pray for a warm, dry fall, and especially a warmer fall, and a little bit earlier harvest, and we'll get that Cabernet Franc right. But it was John Groschow and Ben Castile talked me into planting that because they wanted Cab Franc for their own labels, and so it'll be fun to see what we do with that. And if we can't get it quite right, Cabernet Franc makes a fabulous rosé, and so both John and Ben pointed that out to me and said, even if it's not totally right, we'll take it, we'll be happy with it, it'll make a great rosé. So kind of fun to broaden out a little bit and see what else we can grow here that can make some great wine. We also have some barrels downstairs of Mondouse Noir. And Mondouse Noir is the red grape or one of the red grapes, and perhaps the most important of the Savoie region in France. And I think our Mondouse is going to be really good and something different too, and fun.
That is definitely fun and different. What do you like about the Gouais Blanc? I mean, you're obviously like parading around, and I like it.
Well, I mean, Scott and I tried to get some Gouais Blanc to figure out, learn about it and taste it, and we couldn't. And so the only thing that we knew is it is a very high acid wine. So the only tool that we did, mainly in the beginning, was we fermented it in concrete. So that kind of helped, naturally sort of lowered the pH a little bit. And
raised the pH.
Raised the acidity. Yes. And but I think it just turned out better than I expected. I really liked the wine, and we did some trials with tasting Auxerrois and Gouais Blanc and Muscadet with oysters, and it held up. So I was pretty happy with it. So
very, very nice.
But I was gonna say that we purchased this property, our estate vineyard, in early 2006, and when we were planting, Mark was talking to Ted Castile, from Bethel Heights, and he wanted to plant Mondouse Noir back in the early days when we were planting this vineyard, and there was already climate change, but it wasn't even as pronounced as it is now. And so Ted gave him some very good advice. He said, gee, Mark, if you are okay with getting your crop right 1 in 3 years, go ahead and plant Mondouse Noir, but this is prime Pinot country. You should plant Pinot Noir. And so we did. We we do have Gamay Noir here on our estate, Chardonnay, a little bit of Chardonnay and some Auxerrois, but mostly Pinot Noir.
Right.
So we bought our second vineyard in 2013, and it was originally 245 acres. And so the first thing that we did is we had it surveyed, and then we parceled it off into 3 parcels, sold 2 of them, and then kept the 85 acres for ourselves. And so it took a while to, it was just bare land, so we had to build roads and put in a fence and build a pond and get all the legal pond things going, which was a big deal.
We were building this winery at the time too.
And so
that was kind of soaking up the resources.
Yeah. So it took a long time. So I think during that time, climate change, changed a bit, and Mark had more time to geek out and read more about different grapes. And so, when we started planting that vineyard, we're like, he was kind of thinking, I want to have a little fun with this. I want to plant small plots of different things and just make different wines. It'll make our tasting room more appealing because sometimes you like to try something besides Pinot and Chardonnay.
Right.
And so it was, for many different reasons, we branched out into some of these other godforsaken grapes.
Yes, exactly. And I think, another factor was that, now we've got a lot of Pinot here, and over there we have 50 plantable acres. So far we've planted 32 acres, and we'll have another, probably 20 acres to plant yet. And so we had some room where I could do an acre here and a half acre there of some more unique varieties, right, without worrying too much about the economics or lack thereof of them. But actually it's worked out fine. There's quite a strong demand for the strange grapes. I've got lots of people that are interested in the Cabernet Franc. Again, I'll be selling to John Groschau and Ben Castile. I have contracts with them, but then going forward, as we get more production, I think I'll be able to broaden to more winemakers and sell to them as well.
That is fun. So much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like that you all are taking on another project in downtown McMinnville.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. We were just talking about it. When are we going to open? So I think
it's not going to be during the UFO festival.
No,
I heard that.
We decided we've been delayed for several reasons. Nothing new on that. And I think it's realistic to have a soft opening over Memorial Day weekend. And I was just thinking it'd be fun. I kept back a couple cases of everything we've ever made. So I'm going to dig out some of the old 2009 and above, and we'll have a bunch of library wines and just have a little fun. I think that first weekend it's going to be staffed by Mark and I. So hopefully we'll learn how to use our point of sale system by then.
I'm sure you can. I've heard good things about the point of sale system that you're using.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's exciting news to have a new tasting room in downtown McMinnville. It's an up and coming area, and it's just expanding. Yeah,
it's fun to go to McMinnville. So
we're not right on 3rd Street, but just look for the Ben Franklin statue and hang a right.
Yes.
Or a left, whichever direction you're coming from.
Yeah, most definitely. So you're here and you're living your long-term goal with your big family. Got a grandchild. Two.
I haven't updated the website, obviously.
It's okay.
No.
Is there
We're making a wine after her, so there you go.
That's sweet. What is the long-term goal now?
Well, I talked to I was talking to our youngest son, Hunter, and so now what's your plan? And I'm still working with him a little bit. And Hunter said, well, I don't know, Dad, what's your plan? And I said, well, I'm just going to keep planting grapes till I'm dead. And he kind of laughed and said, okay. So yeah, that's about it.
I think we want to, we have been hiring some great staff. We have a great staff right now. We've hired a couple of new people that are coming on board soon, full time. And I think we want to, be able to have people that we can move up to be, less day-to-day involved. I still love doing the blending of the wines, and, you still love overseeing the vineyards. And I still love being in Oregon in the summer. I wouldn't want to be really anywhere else, but then more travel.
Yeah, we do want to do more travel.
And
hey, we are
more exercise.
Yes, those two things, and we are combining the two. We're end of the month. We're taking a bicycle tour. We'll be on a tandem, and we'll be going all around the British Isles on a ship. And every day, then the ship will dock, and we'll go on a 30 to 70 mile bike ride, come back, and then do it all again the next day. So that's going to be 11 days of that, and that'll be fun.
Looking forward to it.
That'll be amazing.
Wish we had, well, we still have a few weeks, but not as trained as we should be, but it's okay.
I used to do Cycle Oregon, the week-long Cycle Oregon every year, and now they're no longer doing the week-long one.
Oh, they aren't.
And so I don't have that end of summer carrot to go chase after.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Right, Brian?
I don't know. We'll see.
Our daughter did RAGBRAI last summer.
She wants
across,
us to do it.
Well, and here's the problem with RAGBRAI. We've lived in Minneapolis, and midsummer camping in Iowa, you're fairly likely to run into an evening where the temperature drops down to 85 degrees for the low overnight, and it's 90% humidity.
Yeah.
And I'm less enthused about that. And if I'm going to take a long bike ride, going down the Loire River in France seems more appealing to me. So there you go.
I'm right there with you. 100%.
We did that in 2018 with our three youngest kids. We biked all the way down on the Loire of Elo, and it was a fantastic trip.
That would be. Wow. Well, I have some rapid fire questions, and then we'll blind wine or reveal the wine, and then I'll get you out of here.
Okay.
During harvest time, what is your favorite artist to listen to?
I basically let Mark and I, that's one weird thing. We're not big music buffs.
Okay.
I appreciate music. I am a very poor pianist. So I like anything from classical to, any genre.
Right.
Probably not rap so much. But we really
I would say a general selection of 60s, 70s rock and roll. And it is kind of interesting to me, our kids, when they have a party and they're playing music, I would say 80% of the music that they're playing is exactly the same songs and same artists that we listened to when we were in college. Nothing has changed in terms of that, and that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
So
that is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Your all's favorite indulgent food?
Well, I really do like, raw oysters on the half shell. I've got those here. And, I planted 1.2 acres of Milan de Bourgogne just so I would have the perfect oyster wine. I'll probably be selling some of that to John Grochow and Ann Hubich of Heliotera. but we'll certainly be making Blanc de Bourgogne. But then the other thing that, and back to the Loire River when we were biking down there, foie gras is, with a off-dry Riesling is pretty tough to beat too.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. We really like the octopus at the Cozy Taberna. It's
Yeah.
delicious.
They do a great job there.
We love food. There's probably nothing that we don't like except for meatloaf. For whatever reason, we both hate meatloaf. We never eat it.
Yeah, yeah. If you could choose a superpower, what would it be? A lot of people like flying. Some people like
flying, or to extend time.
How about like eternal youth? I think that would
There
work
you
out pretty
go.
well for me.
Yeah,
there you
right.
go.
I could live with that.
Yeah.
I'm real happy with the way things are going. So
Yeah. Harvest notes, are they handwritten or are they digital?
well, for me, I put together spreadsheets. I do it day by day during the harvest because it's just chaotic.
Right.
With 2 vineyards, we got the winery and everything. So everything that we pick, we get down and I put that in and then I tally everything up. So I've got a spreadsheet for harvest 23, harvest
Remember,
22,
he's an underwriter.
harvest
He's
21.
an Excel
And
guy.
so I've got all that down on spreadsheets.
Nice.
So I do it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it starts out with handwritten, the weight sheets and
Of
stuff,
course,
but,
right.
and pick plans every day. So it's now we're harvesting well over 150 tons every fall. So it
Wow.
keeps us pretty busy, and the winery with our production, our own label, plus our cellar partners, it's usually over 200 tons every year.
Yeah.
And so Pattie and Scott are busy with that. So it's there's a lot going on here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No.
we have a spreadsheet that we keep track of everything in the winery too.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And there is software, and we're probably approaching that stage where we need something more than this complicated Excel spreadsheet that doesn't really allow you to capture every single thing the way you'd like to.
Right.
So,
No, that makes sense. And yeah. And then the last rapid fire question is the last book you read. And it could be like a podcast, or it could be an audio book, or you could just say we don't have time enough for.
We read. I think I read the last novel that I read that I really liked. It was a big thick one, and now you've read it. Is Carrie Ramey recommended it to me, and it's was it Big River?
Deep
or
River.
Deep River. And it was about it started in Finland, and then they emigrated from Finland and moved to the Pacific Northwest, and were working as loggers. And it went from about the 1890s to maybe the early 1940s or something, and it was a very, very good novel, kind of a historical novel.
Right.
So Deep River.
I will have to check that out. That sounds
It's a
interesting.
good book. It really is.
Very cool.
Did we give that to your dad yet?
I gave it to my mom.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Very cool. Shall I really reveal what the blind wine is?
Yeah.
Okay. So, trying to find something, like I said, was a little bit difficult, but I went with something obscure and totally, completely different.
Oh my gosh.
So, a Croatian wine,
Okay.
Gresavina. And so it's a rare Croatian wine, and that's
Yeah, hey, I've never even heard of that one. I can't be blamed then.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, it's because
It's very good. I like it.
Yeah.
I was kind of like it's so fragrant though, and it it almost seems more like Sauv Blanc even.
It's not. I would not. I mean, I could kind of see
or that
a little bit
Gewürztraminer,
more.
maybe.
A little more. Yeah, it doesn't quite have the pepperiness of a Gewürztraminer or
But it's
the
delicious.
total fragrance.
It's really good.
I don't know. Yeah, it's an excellent wine, and this is, to your point, this is one of the things that's so cool about wine. The more I learn, the more I realize I'm just like barely scratching the surface.
Yeah.
And I think I know a little bit about, the French wines, particularly the cool climate wines, and but even there's obscure varieties that I've never tasted. What was it we had in Minneapolis? Robinette, which is a red, and it's also a offspring of Pinot and Gouais Blanc. And it was quite good. It was interesting, but just like it's grown in one little tiny area along the Loire River, and I think it's Robinette is how you pronounce it.
Right.
I can't remember exactly, but there's all this stuff, and like this, I've never even heard of it.
Right.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah. So that was the connection of
Very
creating,
good.
bringing something completely
Right.
obscure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It was a
That
great
that was
treat.
really, really interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah,
Really.
thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
For
no.
coming here and setting it all up. and
Yes.
Yeah.
everything.
No, very cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me on this flavorful voyage through the world of wine on the Weinnotes Podcast. I've been your host and guide, AJ Weinzettel, and it's been an absolute pleasure sharing these captivating stories with you. But alas, like the last sip of a fine vintage, our time together must end. But don't fret, my wine-loving friend. The cellar doors of the Weinnotes Podcast will always remain open, waiting for you to return and explore new conversations, stories, and musings from the captivating people behind the magical world of wine. Before you go, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and don't forget to leave a sparkling 5-star review to help spread the word. Until our glasses clink again, remember to savor life's moments and let the spirit of wine and camaraderie linger on your palate. Cheers, and as always, may your wine glass be full, your heart be light, and your journey be delightful.